Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's today's Takes with Alex, and I am your host, Alex. Hope you're liking this Sphere of Beard. We are approaching Shavuos within a week, maybe a little bit more, and maybe 2 weeks. Anyway, we are going to discuss something in light of recent events, something that needs to be understood, I think. And it applies to us all because we are all leaders in our own lives, in our communities, in whatever jobs we hold and whatever we're doing. We have the um, the mission, the obligation to lead wherever we are. So today we're talking about why God-fearing leaders matter. Okay, the spiritual blueprint for true leadership. Leadership shapes everything. Nations rise and fall based on it. Communities thrive or fracture because of it. Even within our own lives, the people we choose to follow, whether conscientiously or not, leave a lasting imprint. But what actually makes a good leader? Is it intelligence, charisma, strength, vision? Those things matter, but they're not enough. Because history is filled with brilliant leaders, powerful leaders, persuasive leaders, who ultimately led people in the wrong direction. So the real question is deeper. What anchors a leader to truth? What prevents power from becoming corruption? What ensures that leadership uplifts rather than destroys? Torah wisdom and Hasidic thought offer a striking answer. A true leader, one who is going to lead the successful lead to success, is one who is God-fearing, not in a narrow or sectarian sense, but in a deeply universal one. And understanding what that means changes everything. The phrase God-fearing is often misunderstood. It's not about fear in the sense of anxiety or intimidation. It's about awareness, a constant recognition that there is something higher than oneself, something absolute, something true, something that cannot be manipulated or redefined for convenience. A God-fearing leader understands that they are not the ultimate authority. They are accountable, not just to people, not just to systems, but to a moral reality that exists beyond them. And that awareness creates boundaries. It introduces humility into positions where ego could easily take over. Let's consider the alternative. What happens when a leader does not have the sense of higher accountability? Power becomes self-referential. Right and wrong become flexible. Decisions are shaped by personal gain, public perception, or short-term advantage. And over time, that leads to distortion. Because without something objective anchoring a leader, everything becomes negotiable. Torah thought is very clear on this. Even the most capable leader, without moral grounding, becomes dangerous. Not necessarily immediately, but inevitably. One of the most powerful ideas in Hasidic teachings is that a true leader is not above the people, they are in service to them. But even deeper than that, they are in service to something higher than both themselves and the people. This creates a unique dynamic. The leader is not driven by control, but by responsibility. Not by dominance, but by alignment. They don't ask, what do I want? They ask, what is right? And then they act accordingly, even when it's difficult. Leadership is not just external, it's internal. Every leader faces a constant tension between self-interest and higher purpose, between ego and humility, between control and surrender. A God-fearing leader doesn't eliminate that tension, they navigate it. They are aware of their own limitations, their own biases, their own desires, and they actively work to keep those in check. That inner work is what makes their internal or external leadership trustworthy. You might think this only applies to presidents, CEOs, or public figures, but it doesn't. Leadership exists at every level, in families, in friendships, in communities. Anytime someone has influence over others, they are a leader, which means this principle is universal. The question isn't just whether our leaders are God-fearing, it's whether we are in the roles we occupy. Because influence, no matter how small, carries responsibility. A leader's mindset doesn't stay contained, it spreads. If a leader operates with integrity, that standard filters down. If they operate with manipulation or self-interest, that spreads too. Culture is shaped from the top, but reinforced at every level. That's why the spiritual state of a leader matters so much. It's not just about decisions, it's about the tone they set, the values they normalize, the behaviors they reward. Here's a critical distinction. A leader will always fear something. The question is, what? If a leader fears public opinion above all else, they will bend constantly. If they fear losing power, they will act defensively. If they fear criticism, they will avoid necessary decisions. But if they fear God, meaning they are anchored in a higher moral truth, they gain a different kind of stability. They are less reactive, less easily swayed, more consistent, because their reference point doesn't shift with circumstances. It might seem counterintuitive, but accountability to something higher doesn't weaken a leader, it strengthens them. Because it removes the burden of self-justification. They don't have to twist reality to fit their desires. They don't have to constantly defend their ego. They can act with clarity. And that clarity creates courage. The kind of courage that allows the leader to stand firm when it matters most. So how do you recognize a God-fearing leader? Not by what they say, but by how they act. Do they take responsibility, even when it's costly? Do they make decisions based on principle, not convenience? Do they demonstrate humility, even in positions of power? Do they uplift others rather than centralizing control? These are indicators, because true leadership is revealed over time through patterns, not moments. There's one more layer to this. Not every leader who appears moral actually is. Language can be used to create an image of righteousness. Values can be performed rather than lived. That's why discernment is critical. Hasidic thought emphasizes looking beyond the surface, evaluating substance over presentation. Because real God consciousness expresses itself in consistent behavior, not just rhetoric. If leadership matters this much, then the natural question is, how do we create more of it? The answer isn't just political or structural, it's personal. Because leaders don't emerge from nowhere, they come from environments, from cultures, from communities that value truth, accountability, and purpose. So the more individuals internalize these principles, the more likely it is that leadership will reflect them. At its core, leadership is about influence, and influence is powerful. It can build, it can guide, it can elevate, or it can distort. What determines the difference is not just skill, but alignment. A God-fearing leader is aligned with something beyond themselves. They recognize that power is not ownership, it's responsibility. That authority is not entitlement, it's a trust. And that every decision carries weight, not just in the moment, but beyond it. In a world where leadership is often defined by visibility, strength, and control, this perspective offers something deeper. A reminder that the most important quality in a leader is how much power they have. It is not how much power they have, but what holds them accountable when they use it. So if you like this video, smash the like button. Let's pray that all our God-fearing leaders are safe and secure because we rely on them. God put them in position because that is who is divinely appointed to lead us. So everyone be blessed, everyone be safe, have a great evening. Thanks for checking back. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.